Well, Mark and Stephen served our country with pride, risking their lives to protect ours. But decades on, they find themselves forgotten, rejected and homeless. But now there's hope, a chance to get their dignity back.
You just end up in a hole. And sorry. You just lose hope.
I never went home for a long time because I was ashamed, because I had my schooling was shit. I mean, was no good. And so I just wandered the streets.
They joined our Defence Force to serve and protect and build a better life. But decades on, these two veterans never imagined they would be out on the streets.
I got behind on my rent, I got kicked out. I lived in my car for about 8 months, I think, till I couldn't afford to run it anymore because I just wasn't getting the work.
Stephen Foster signed up for the Air Force when he was a teenager, inspired by his grandfather and father, both ex-servicemen.
Had a great time. I did my 3 years thinking there could be something better, which I'm still looking for.
For years, Stephen worked across various fields from construction to mining, but found himself homeless between jobs.
People look at you different. You're walking around with your backpack and your sleeping bags and that sort of thing. Even their attitude towards you. And you don't realise until you're in that situation how these other people are feeling.
I'm not a drinker, I'm not a smoker, I'm not a drug user. But you don't have to be any of those things to be homeless.
For Mark Collins, serving his country was his dream. Signing up at 16, he left the army 3 years later. This crisis accommodation, his first home since then.
It's just a pleasure to have your own bed. People don't realise how demoralising it is not to have anything. When you're on the street, you have nothing.
Sadly, their stories aren't unique. Veterans Affairs Minister Matt Keogh.
I think people will be surprised to see that veterans are 3 times more likely to experience homelessness, and I think also Australians would recognise that it's really important that we support those that have put on our nation's uniform.
The Albanese government announcing it's coming through on its election commitment to address veteran homelessness, officially rolling out $30 million through the Veterans Acute Housing Program. Perth's Rafa revealed as one recipient, securing $5 million to build the Andrew Russell Veteran Living Centre, comprising of 16 units. Rafa CEO Michelle Fife.
And we're incredibly proud of the fact that just 1 year on, we now have the funding. We're just waiting for council approval and we will be breaking ground.
It's part of a program developed by war widow Kylie Russell, who lost her husband in 2002.
Andrew was always passionate about service. That was why he was in the army. It wasn't about going to war zones. It was actually about deployments like East Timor, where he wanted to meet the local people and to help to make a difference. When we lost Andrew and there was an opportunity to put something in place to remember him, a Veterans Living Program was just a natural fit.
People who are homeless are more likely to suicide or have suicidal thoughts. So this is about getting someone a place to live, a place to lay their head, and a place to recoup.
A luxury lost on most of us. For Stephen and Mark, it's a basic human right they'll never take for granted.
When you're that low, it takes you a long time to become human again. And this place is the first time I've ever felt human now.
And ready to rebuild his life.
You might think it's just putting that person in the house, but it's not. It's giving them dignity back. It's giving them a life back. It's giving them things that they need to put their head up high, hold their head up high and say, hey, I'm amongst the living, I'm like you.
I'm feeling so good now. You know how you say spiritual vibration, I can feel mine coming up.
It's really tough to hear their stories, but this is such a wonderful initiative. And if you or anyone you know is affected by this story, there is help. Free counselling is available through Open Arms on 1800 011 043.